everybody. I'm Lori with
Hi.
I'm Lori with Green Adventures. Thanks so much for sharing your time with us this evening. We're going to take about an hour to go over our trip to Uganda, and we'll have time to answer any questions that you may have. Boy, without too much further ado, I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay. Yep. So that's what this webinar is all about. And we are recording it, and we will send the link out to all of you if you want to review it again, and for those who weren't able to make it tonight. So, well, this just gives you a little bit of review what our agenda is going to be about. We'll go around and do some short introductions, let you know all about Green Adventures, an intro to what Uganda is all about, the route that we'll be taking, logistics, things like that, what we do to help you prepare and to pack, give you a little insight how to get there, how to sign up, and our contact information, and then we'll go to question and answers. And again, we try to keep this to an hour. We know that your time is valuable as well. So again, thanks for being here. What is Green Adventures? Let me just briefly, what is Green Adventures all about? We're a women's adventure travel company, primarily women's trips. We also have some student trips available. And now and again, we offer a co-ed trip. Those pop up when we hear that there's interest. And then on any one of our itineraries, if you're ever interested, we can also do a private trip. And that can be family, group of friends you travel with, whatever travel group, whatever that definition is for you. But anyway, we help people fall in love with wild places through extraordinary eco-adventure. We protect the people, the places, and the ecosystems through ecotourism. All right, where do we take you? This is a list of our current destinations. Let you read through that. A lot of domestic trips and also international. We're all over the place. Our promise. You may be traveling solo, but you're never alone. I'll be your first travel buddy. So don't ever hesitate to travel alone with us. That's how I first started with Green Adventures. I'll fill you in a little on that in a little bit. But we give you a ton of support with a lot of documentation up front, everything you need to know about applying for visas, what to pack, what to expect. We have people waiting for you at the airport when you arrive. Our guides are with us 24/7 and also to get you back to the airport. 24/7 online support, and also should there be any illness or accident, we help you through that as well. Let's do a little bit of introductions. I'm Lori. I'm one of the tour leaders for Green Adventures. I live in Wisconsin. I'm right outside of Milwaukee, in the beautiful town of Pewaukee, which like nobody ever has heard of. And I have been traveling with Green Adventures since 2019. I took my first trip alone to Tanzania, actually, to our other Africa destination. And I too was impressed with how the trip was run, how it was organized. I didn't have to think about anything the whole time I was there. Got matched up with an amazing roommate. We consider ourselves now friends for life, and that's very common on our trips. That happens a lot. And what I didn't, I knew I would like Tanzania. I like all kinds of travel. I knew I would like it. I never expected to fall in love with Africa. And it's just both Tanzania and Uganda. They make my head explode. They're so pretty, and there's so much to see, so much to do. The people are incredible. And so I come back year after year. So since 2019, I go on many of our Green Adventures trips as a passenger, just like you guys do. And so I have done 19 trips since then as a passenger, and I've led 23 trips, all different destinations and things like that. So I can also, like while we're riding along in the Jeep, I can also answer any other questions you may have on some of our other destinations as well. So that's a little bit about me. Let's keep going. All right, Uganda. Uganda is called the Pearl of Africa. It's a nickname that it has gotten through the ages, and that nickname was given to Uganda by Winston Churchill in a book that he wrote. And it just kind of describes, it's kind of all encompassing, but it includes the remarkable beauty of the country, the rich biodiversity that it has. Over 50 ethnic groups are in Uganda, different languages, different cultures. So it's just it has it all. And I went to Tanzania first, and a couple of years later, I went to Uganda. And I'll be the first to admit, like on the way there, I was thinking, oh, will this be more of the same, more of what Tanzania was like? But they're two completely different trips and completely different landscape, completely different feel, different all the way around. So Uganda, I mean, it just has a ton to offer, all on its own. And this picture is taken from one of our lodges. All right, so if we look on a map of Uganda, you can see the arrow pointing to the little pink country there, right on the equator. And we cross the equator a couple of times on the trip. And of course, we get, good photo op, by the equator sign. And that's always fun, just to say that that's where you've been. So we'll have another map that gives us more detail of the route that we're taking, but we like to point out, where exactly are we going? There we are. All right, so this is a little bit of our travel plan. We do a large circle. We do a large circular sweep as we go along, and we're going to go through each of these places. We'll talk a little bit about what we do there and what we may see. So here we start out, we all fly into Entebbe, and our first excursion is our very first full day. And we go out to the Mabamaba Swamp, which is out on Lake Victoria. And our goal that day is to find the shoebill stork. Raise your hand if you're a birder. Anybody in here a birder? Okay, the shoebill stork. Um, it's like you win the gold prize if you can find a shoebill stork. You'll be the envy of all of your birding friends. So this just gives you a little bit of a peek into, what does that look like? We go out into these wooden boats, transfer into even a smaller boat when we're out into the actual swamp that's out on Lake Victoria. And the picture on the left is the smaller boat that we transfer into. And then these boatmen, the boat has this boat has a small motor on the back of it, but we go into these channels into the swamp and it can get thick. The blades on the motor can, they get kind of caught up in these reeds and things. And so they'll need these long poles to help push the boat forward, kind of slowly, kind of push it forward. There have been times that guy in front will jump into the water and pull the boat by hand. Okay, the first time I saw that, I'm not kidding you, I thought, I've seen the movie The African Queen, and I know what, they're going to jump back into the boat and they're like going to be covered in leeches. I mean, that was my thought. I have never seen that happen. I've never seen leeches. I don't know if they're in this water or not, but it's not unusual for them to, jump in and have to pull the boat forward. This picture on the right is a little video. I'm going to play that for you a little bit. Gives you a little bit of what it looks like as we come down to the shoreline. First, we're in this bigger wooden boat, and it takes us, I don't know, about an hour or so, hour and a half maybe, to get out to the area that is considered this swamp. And that plant that you're seeing along the coastline or along the shoreline there, those are all papyrus. And it is just thicker and thicker. And they find these narrow channels like this, lots of lily pads, and they just weave their way through these channels. They'll keep going. This is, as I was explaining, they may have to push their way through until we find this guy or this gal. Shoebill stork, they're like 3 to 4 feet high. They look just like a dinosaur. They so prehistoric. And they know where to find them, and we just keep going and going until we find one. And it's just a beautiful bird to finally see. And this is another picture of the boats going through that area. And that's the prize, our shoebill stork. This whole area out on this swampland, or excuse me, out into this swamp area is just a beautiful haven for a lot of different African birds. And for those of you that were on our webinar for the Tanzania trip, I'll say the same thing. If you don't consider yourself a birder, that's okay. Just on the trip, pretend that you are for 10 days. You know, anybody can pretend anything for 10 days. I was blown away. I was not a birder, did not consider myself a birder before these trips, but I was blown away at the wide variety of teeny tiny birds, huge birds, all the different colors, everything, everything. And this is just a small example of the things that you'll see. All right, the next day we head north to the Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary. And this is really the only time on either one of our trips, the African trips, that we're at a sanctuary. And don't be discouraged that you think, oh, we're going to a zoo. Okay. That's not the case when you go to a sanctuary like this. The Ziwa Sanctuary is huge. It's something like, you know, 12 miles large, you know, and you will not see any of the fences while we're here, while we're out here looking for the rhinos. And they have rangers and that are protecting them 24/7. And we'll team up with a ranger that will take us to where they're located. And we are walking on the ground right near the rhinoceroses. It's crazy to think that you are that close to these large and beautiful protected animals. We'll get briefings ahead of time of how to behave and how to what to do in case they would move towards us. We're with a guide the entire time. So these are a few other pictures, and all the pictures in here are pictures that we have taken on our trip. Okay, so here's where it tells us this is the only place in Uganda where you can walk with the wild rhinoceroses. And it's not just rhinos that we see here. There's a lot of other wildlife in this area. There are reedbucks, there are dik-diks. Dik-diks are the tiny little antelopes. A lot of birds in this area too, and they also boast about having a resident shoebill here as well. And yeah, if we're lucky, you know, we may get to see a baby rhino. And here's what it looks like when we're uh, out in the sanctuary. Again, we're always with a guide, with a ranger, and walking through the grass, through the reeds. It's just exciting because you know they're there, and you just come around the corner, and we all stay still, keep a safe distance, and watch their behavior as the guide explains everything about what the sanctuary is all about, what they're doing to protect the rhinos. They've been very, very successful in the years that they've been working with this program, and they are close to having the quantity of rhinos that they need to introduce them back into the wild. Okay, so they're very, very close. This sanctuary has been very successful. This gives you a good indication of like, yeah, how close are we? You can see them right over the shoulder um, of this gal getting her picture taken there. All right. The next day we head up to Murchinson Falls. If you look at this, it looks like it might be pronounced Murchison, okay? But you'll hear all of the locals pronounce it Murchinson Falls. And this is a huge waterfall that is on the Nile River. And we visit it in two areas. We visit it at the top of the falls where it goes through this very narrow chute and over a waterfall. And then later in the day, we take a small boat downriver and then make our way up towards the bottom of the falls. So we see it from both angles. This just gives you a little bit of an area of like how big this conservancy area is. It's just beautiful. The park that we go through there, you know, 1,500 square miles of wilderness. We very good chance give us a chance to see the Big Five. That's a huge thing that you hear on any African safari trip that you take is the opportunity to see the big five. And the big five are the elephant, rhino, Cape buffalo, leopard, and lion. Did I say lion? No, yeah, elephant, Cape buffalo, lion, rhino, leopard. Okay, so that's what we'll always be looking for to check those things off of our list. Okay. This gives you a look at what one of the game parks may look like. And you can see, there's antelope right out here. Gives you an idea of what a safari jeep looks like and what that day may feel like. I'll get into more of that detail in a little bit as we explain what's it feel like to go out on the safari for a day. Elephants. Everybody's favorite, elephants. We purposely go at this time of year. We're right ahead of the busy season, so we are ahead of all that busy traffic. Will we see other safari vehicles? Sure, but it's unlikely that we'll run into crowds and crowds of safari vehicles. So we like that. We like being there at that time of year. The grass is green and lush, so we tend to see many, many animals. They're fat and happy. That makes the predators fat and happy. And also this time of year, very, very, very good chance of seeing baby animals, which is always a plus and always a favorite. Here's the giraffes in the area with I believe that's the Albert Nile River behind there. And here's a variety of various antelope that we'll see. Up in the top is hartebeest, and off to the right is a, oh, I am sorry. It is completely, it just left my mind, the type of antelope that is. It'll come back to me. Okay, and here we have also a variety of some wildlife that we'll see. The monkey in the upper left-hand corner is a Patis monkey. They're beautiful, this bright red fur that they have, and they look like they're wearing a little mask. In the upper right corner, crowd favorite all the time was a leopard. They're one of the most elusive to see, and Paul is our guide. You will meet him. You'll love Paul. I am blown away year after year at what he can see and at what distance. And I'll tell you the story. The first time I was on the Uganda trip, and we were heading across, this large savanna, like the picture that you had seen a few slides before, and we were headed to our lodge for the evening. It was still daylight, and Paul's like, there's a leopard on top of that building. And he's pointing, and I am not kidding you. I could not even see the building. Okay. And at that distance, he could tell there was a leopard lying on top. And sure enough, we go a little bit further. I see the buildings he's talking about, and we make our way up to it. And the leopard was still on top, just laying in the sun, just on top of this roof, and kind of snuck away, as we got closer. But the distance that the guides, and I get it, it's all part of their training, but it never ceases to surprise me what they can see and what they can find, especially leopards. The leopards are so well camouflaged when they're up in the trees like this. But Paul and his guys, they find them. It's amazing. Monitor lizard down in the lower left. Those are always fun to see creeping along. And then in the lower right, I just have to tell you, this is my favorite. I have long ago decided warthogs are my African continent spirit animal. I love it when they run away, their tails go straight up. These are the guys you see in Lion King. This is Pumbaa, and their tails run up, they're straight up and down when they're running away, and they always look happy. Like even if something is chasing them, they just look happy. So I decided that guy, he's my African continent spirit animal. This is a picture of the falls that I was talking about, Machin Falls. And again, at one day we go up way at the top of the falls, right where this is rushing over. There's a couple of different lookout points that we can get to, and the power of the water coming down here is just insane. And there's almost always a rainbow that is forming in the mist that's coming up. It's just wild and violent and incredible. And then later in the day, we come back down to the bottom of the bottom of this area, and we take a boat ride up towards the where the bottom of the waterfall. Yeah, and so our ride up the river is in a boat like this, a smaller boat, and there is just an abundance of wildlife along the shores of the river as well. It's the Our driver is also a guide. He'll be explaining everything that we see along the way. If you look close in the background of this picture is a very large crocodile. Okay, everybody can see that crocodile in the back. We often see them along the banks of the river as we're heading upstream to get to that waterfall. Oops, I think I went too fast. Yep. And once again, we'll have a good opportunity to see elephants as they come down to eat along the shrubs that are along the shoreline. And sometimes we'll see them in the water. But again, lots of wildlife all along the shoreline here. Again, a large number of birds, shorebirds, water birds, flocks like this flying over, an amazing amount of bird life as well. Yeah, here's a little conglomeration of pictures. Also along this area, very, very common for us to see schools of hippopotamus. And they are considered the most dangerous animal in the whole continent. They are responsible for the most killing the most people. They're faster than you think. They're fast in the water. They're faster on land than you think. And we have plenty of opportunities to see the hippos. This bird in the middle looks very much like our American bald eagle. That's an African fish eagle. And we'll have plenty of opportunity to see them. They're huge, they're beautiful, they soar, very, very similar behavior to our bald eagles. And with any luck, we'll see them coming down, grabbing a fish as well. And then the way on the bottom, like in direct opposite size-wise, is a little kingfisher. And we'll have plenty of opportunities to see them. They're, just as their name states, they're excellent fishers. They'll hover and then dive down to get the fish that they see. Our next stop, then we head south to the Kibale Forest area, and Kibale Forest is our chimpanzee track. Okay, so we head down this way, and here, this is a picture of Tara. Tara's the owner of Green Adventures, and this shows you how close we get to the chimpanzees. You see the chimp in the lower left-hand corner there. Again, Kibale National Park, it's the primate capital of the world. They boast having, this large number of species in this park and primates. Again, this little monkey up in the upper left-hand corner, but here's the chimpanzees. That's what we're looking for as we go into the Kibale Forest. Just a few other the animals are listed as well. This is home to a lot of forest elephants. Forest elephants are a little bit different than the savanna elephants. Um, this is what I know about forest elephants. They are more aggressive than the elephants that are out in the savanna. I have never seen one, but I have seen evidence of one that has been there just before we have gotten, to the same area of the forest. There are times on the chimpanzee trek that we may walk across a boardwalk. We have come across a boardwalk that is utterly destroyed. Elephants had gone through, and all the boards are broken. Again, I know that they're there, and I'm okay without seeing a forest elephant because everything we've learned is that they're just much more aggressive. This beautiful picture here, this is a picture of our lodge that we stay at for when the day that we go to see the chimpanzees. This is the chimpanzee guest house. And I believe this next picture, this will give you a little tour inside. little separate room there, bathroom. All of the lodges that we stay at throughout this trip, they all have their own bathroom with flushing toilets, running water, and showers. And that's just an important thing to know. The three questions that I always get asked on any one of our Africa trips are, how bad are the bugs? What is the bathroom situation like? And what kind of food do we eat? Okay, so I'll get to all of that. But I can guarantee you that all of our lodges are beautiful. We give you a little tour inside that one so you get a feel for it. And they all have their own separate room with flushing toilet, running water, and running showers. We don't drink any of the tap water and we don't use it for brushing our teeth, but all of the lodges will have bottled water waiting for us. We encourage everybody to use that as well for cleaning off your toothbrush. And there will be water inside our safari vehicle every day, enough to refill your water bottles, throughout the day. So we're never running out of water, but it's just important to know, use the bottled water. When we're at the lodges for dinner, they'll also provide bottled water. Bottled water will be available at all of our meals, and it's okay to eat whatever they service as well. The courses will be like a salad, a soup, a main entree, and a dessert. Okay, so there's a large amount of food, a lot of chicken, some fish, uh, fabulous homemade soups, vegetable soups, just a wide variety and very, very good. A lot of fresh fruit, a lot of pineapple, mango, bananas. Every morning for breakfast, made to order eggs, coffee available, of course. They have a large coffee production in Uganda. Anyway, so the food is abundant and delicious. All right, before we go on the chimpanzee trek, we all sit through a little briefing with one of the rangers. And they just explain to us where we'll be going, what to expect, how close we can get to the chimpanzees. And how this works is we go out with a ranger. There's usually a couple, like one in front of our group, one behind. Depending upon the size of the group that we have, we may be divided into two groups. The walk could be on a dirt path. It could turn into walking over a boardwalk, as I explained, or it could be we may suddenly, take a hard right and we are right in the middle of the forest. It all depends on where are the chimpanzees. The rangers know how to find them. They know what to listen for. They know what to look for. They're going to be looking for knuckle prints on the ground. They're going to be listening to them calling. And we keep going and going until we find a group of them. They may be up in the trees, they may be on the ground, but we will spend time just watching them and watching their behavior and listening to them. They're loud. It's very, very exciting once we do come across them. And they'll give us all the instructions on how close we can get. And what that means is we may come across a group of chimpanzee. Let's say they're on the ground, could be in a clearing, and we're at our safe distance from them. But as we're standing there, it's very likely the chimpanzees could come closer to us. They could run past us. Whatever. It's okay if they approach us. We don't get any closer to them, and we certainly don't do anything to touch them or to reach out and to touch them. This is a little bit of an example of what it looks like in the Kibale forest. This is showing like a pretty flat walk. It can be that. It can be rolling hills. It usually not too strenuous. But it could be anything, depending upon where we find them for that day. You can see that we are dressed in long sleeves, long pants, and we have our pants, our socks tucked into our pants whenever we're out on a trek like this. And I wear safari boots. Some people have more of a more durable kind of hiking shoe kind of a thing. wear a hat. We wear a hat because we're standing underneath the chimpanzees that are above us in the trees. Yeah, they may be throwing down food, or they just may be taking care of chimpanzee business, and you never know what kind of liquids or solids may be coming down from those trees. So we wear hats. When we do get close to them, we do wear masks, okay? They're close in DNA to us, and the last thing we'd want to do is transmit any cold or anything that we may be carrying. So that's why you'll see in some of these pictures that some of the gals are wearing their masks at this time. Like we don't necessarily need to wear them like from start to finish on this trek, but we will wear them when we're right around the chimpanzees. This one is showing you a chimpanzee up in a tree. Arrow is pointing to where the chimpanzee is up there. Here's another little video. Shows you how close we can get. So we just watch their behavior. They're grooming each other.
Please make sure you use this pen.
The rangers and guides that we're with will be explaining behavior, explaining what we may be seeing. And again, what I wanted to show you there is, just how close we are. Yeah, here's a couple of guys, very close on the ground. One of them's eating some food there. They're habituated. It does not mean that they're tame at all. They're not tame to people, but they are used to people being around. And we're limited to the time that we can spend with them to keep them safe as well. But we get a very good look at what life is like for the chimpanzees. At the end, everybody gets a certificate that they've been on chimpanzee trekking. All right, then we head further southwest to the Ishasha Wilderness area, and this takes us into Queen Elizabeth National Park. And Queen Elizabeth National Park claim to fame are the tree climbing lions. If you can see in this picture, there are two lions in this picture. Okay, there's one over to the left and another one over here to the right. And I have a couple of different pictures, different angles of these lions. And here's Tara pointing to one right above her finger. You can see a lion there. And that is what has made Queen Elizabeth National Park is famous, is their tree climbing lions. And the lions, what that represents is an adaptive trait that they have. It enables them to escape the heat and to also get away from any nuisance insects that are in the ground or on the ground, like ants. And so those guys, they head up into the trees. And this again is a game safari day, drive day. We not only will run into the lions, but we maybe see animals like Topi, a picture of Topi coming up, a lot of different antelopes, all of the animals that we may see out in any of the parks. This is a good chance for us to see them here in Queen Elizabeth National Park. Here's a picture of Topi. They kind of, the guides like to tease that the stain that's on the back, like on their back legs, on their front legs, it almost looks like they're wearing blue jeans. Okay. Our experience, not this last summer, the summer before, we were in the same area in the morning on a morning drive and then in an afternoon drive again. And both times we had a large bull elephant. We know it was the same elephant because he was missing a tusk. And he was coming down the road towards our vehicle. He then has control of the road, huge bull elephant, and both times he made us back up to get out of his way. So he didn't charge, he didn't come at us full speed, but it was a little bit interesting being in that situation. I was not worried. I wasn't scared. I know our guide knows what to do in that situation, but I can guarantee you it has everybody's attention. This is a herd of Cape buffalo. They're one of the big five. And they're also, they can also be very aggressive. Again, that's what makes the big five the big five. They were deemed the five most dangerous animals for hunters that were out on walking hunts. Is what names the five of the big five. You'll often you can see this white bird in the background. I believe that's a cattle egret. And there are often oxpeckers like on their backs or on their faces. And it's just amazing to see these birds live in tandem with these big, ferocious animals. Here's another picture of the tree climbing lions. And this gives you a good example of how close can we get with our safari vehicles. Okay, you can see here, we're pretty close. You can get some excellent shots with your phone cameras alone. And they're usually, they're content with us, being there, watching them. They may or may not, climb back out of the tree. I've seen both. I've seen them just, lay there and let us just watch them. And we've also seen them, climb out of the tree and climb back up the tree. You never know. This guy, big yawn. Is there a, can you see this whole picture? Because I see on my end, I see kind of there's a comment going across the top that I think is just on my
Yes,
side.
I see it.
You
Yeah.
see the comment?
No, I see his
You
big
see the whole
mouth.
picture? Okay, good. Yeah, because it's a big old nice shot of the inside of that lioness's mouth. Always fun to see the big cats. And then at the last stop that we have to make way down in this south corner is it leads to Gorilla Day. Okay, here we go. Here's gorilla. This is what always ends up being everyone's highlight of the trip, although, all the other days are exciting as well. But to actually be on the ground close to these guys is unbelievable. It's hard to put it into words that of what you're seeing, these huge, beautiful gorillas. You watch their behavior and it's impossible to to not see ourselves in these beautiful animals. Okay, so we spend time in the Bwindi Impenetrable National Park, and it is called Impenetrable for a reason. And you'll see, I've got more slides of like exactly how thick this forest is as we're walking through it. So they're home to the mountain gorillas, and we are in a tropical rainforest on this day. The Kibale National Forest is also a tropical rainforest. And on this part of the trip, we're at the highest elevation. We're like up 6,000, 7,000 feet, okay? And I tell you that because on this trek, even if you're in the best of shape, you may feel it. You may feel like it's just a little harder to do this trek. I can remember thinking like, oh my God, I thought I was in pretty good shape, And then it's like, oh yeah, we're at 7,000 feet. So you're going to feel that, all right? This day, this is not a race. We are out, of course, with rangers and guides, and we are out with them as long as it takes us to find the gorillas. All right. And what happens here is there's a team of scouts that go out early in the morning. They know where the gorillas were nested the night before. They build a new nest every day. So they build a new nest. The scouts find the nest and then they track them. They stay with them, and they communicate back to the guides when the guides are ready to bring a group of us out. And so that's how do we find them? Okay, what makes it unpredictable as to how long we'll be out there is that the gorillas are also on the move, so they may stay in an area, be eating, whatever, and then they move. The scouts, follow along with them, communicate back to the guides and rangers, and then, we keep going and going until we meet up with them. And again, we don't know how long we'll be out. We will pack a lunch that day and carry it in our backpack just in case we are out for that length of time. Now, in the 4 times that I have done this, we have always been back before lunch. And we've had our lunch, either at a picnic site or we go back to our lodge. I'm telling you that just because that's what has happened in the last 4 years. It's no guarantee. You could be out, you could eat your lunch out in the wild and then continue, on a gorilla trek. Okay. But I do want you to know they'll keep going until we find the gorillas. There are other monkeys out in this area as well. And if you don't see them while we're on the gorilla trek, there's a good chance that we see them on the road as we're driving, to and from the lodges. 'Cause these are the monkeys that are in that area. Of course, down in the lower right, that's little baby gorilla. This is what the area looks like. Completely different than the safari game parks that we've been on, because now we are climbing and getting into this more mountainous area. And yet you see there are people living along in here. You can see like they've got all of these terraced fields for different crops. There's a lot of coffee, a lot of tobacco. You'll see this all along on the drive up to our lodge around the forest where we go to look for the gorillas. Absolutely gorgeous. And we are on a dirt road getting up to this area. That drive is an adventure in itself. Last year we got stopped before we had gotten very high. We got stopped because there was a landslide that had taken out a portion of the road, and it was unbelievable how fast the community brings equipment in. And there were front end loaders and huge construction equipment straightening out this road, moving all the dirt around. We were absolutely there for over an hour watching it all work. Turned out to be right around lunchtime, and we had stuff in the car with us, in the vehicle with us. And so we ate lunch while we watched this all unfold, and people tried to get to and from. This is like a main artery, a dirt road, but a main artery. A lot of motorcycles, they would kind of cut through, go in the ditch and ride in the, just ride through the grass and stuff like that, come up someplace else and still try to get through. It was just kind of a great little impromptu, surprise to our day to watch that all unfold and see how the village takes care of getting everything fixed. Anyway, sorry for that little segue, but this view here, this is from the dining room of our lodge for the time that we're in that area for the gorilla trek. It's absolutely beautiful. You can see these, kind of see a little bit of a rooftop here. The lodges at this place is the dining room is up on top of the slope, and then the other lodges, they're built into the hillside and go further and further down the hillside. There's probably like 3 or 4 levels of lodges, and just an unbelievable view. This area here, we are very, very close to the border for the Congo. And this last year, we were eating dinner, it was dark, and I looked out, and like right over this mountain ridge that's on this horizon, okay, I looked up and I could see 2 very, very bright orange, whatever, right? Like, what is that? I was pretty sure I knew what it was, but I verified it with our guide. There were 2 volcanoes erupting in the Congo, and we were able to see the glow of the lava on 2 different mountains in that right across there on that horizon. So just crazy, unbelievable, right? Just to see a volcano erupting as well. You never know. You just like never know what little extras may appear on a trip. Let's get back to talking about gorillas. All right, so you'll see the same thing. We're just very much like we are for the Chimpanzee Day. We tuck our pants into our socks. That's all because we may encounter safari ants along the way, and the guides are looking for them. They'll ask us to run. We may run for a little bit. We're definitely going to hop over any trail that they may have across our path. These guys are carrying walking sticks. That looks like that could be walking sticks that they brought with us. You don't have to bring walking sticks because they'll also provide one for us. And you'll see that they're also wearing gloves. We absolutely recommend that for Gorilla Day. The vegetation is so thick, there'll be times, you'll be reaching whatever, and it's just to protect your hands. This vegetation is everything from, A to Z, and it could be thorns, it could be, something sticky, it could be something sharp. So we wear gloves on that whole trip to protect our hands. The people that are off to the right that have backpacks on and such, those are porters. And as part of our tour, we hire a porter for every one of us. And you can kind of like, oh my God, that kind of seems like a luxury. No, trust me, you're gonna be very happy to have a porter. Your porter carries your backpack, your water. If you bring along a different camera, like a better camera, they carry everything. All you are concerned about is walking through this impenetrable forest. Okay, so you'll have a walking stick in your hand, and that's it. They carry everything else. As soon as we get closer to the gorillas, the porters will stay back, and then we move forward for the last little bit to where we get closer to the gorillas. Okay. Oh, and the porters, they're there to help you with every bit of this trek. They will offer a helping hand if maybe we're going across maybe a little ditch or something like that, or maybe we have to climb up a little higher and they'll give us a helping hand up. There are times they'll come from behind and give you a boost, right on your backside, give you a boost up. Take the helping hand. Or ask for a helping hand. They are there to help. They want to help, and you will appreciate it. I love having a porter. Okay, this is an example of how thick it is. This is a little video. Oh, and here we have gorillas, and how close we are. This guy coming here, this is the silverback. The silverback, they're the patriarch of the troop, of whatever troop we may be finding. And this experience could be anything. It could be like this, that we see them walking. We could find them in a small clearing where they're resting and the juveniles are playing. You could see them up in a tree. It is like, it's wildlife and it's unpredictable. So, I can't guarantee that, you will see this exact experience. I'm going to show you a couple of different experiences that we've had over the years. Okay. All right, this again is just shows you how thick this is. We start out on a trail. Sometimes we're walking on trails that have been made again by the forest elephants. This is a whole entourage. We each have our own porter. Up front is a ranger. In back of us is a ranger. And guides, and some of them are carrying rifles. Also on the chimpanzee trek, they'll be carrying rifles. And again, this is because there are forest elephants in the area. If they were to see one, they'll fire in the air to scare it away. I have never had that experience. I've never had them had to fire anything in the air. But I just want to let you know, like that's what is part of this experience. And here again, so close to this, they're amazing, amazing animals. This is another little video. This is Tara. And that's just a little juvenile there. The babies, they love to play. And you can't help but think this looks just like watching a little, 3-year-old, 4-year-old toddler at home. They love to play. Here's another video. Look at this guy. Yep. And again, all of these pictures here within the gorillas were taken with a phone, smartphone. All right. I want to tell you the story behind this picture. This was 2 years ago, and that's one of our passengers sitting there on the right, and this is a female gorilla right behind her. So we had come up to where we knew the gorillas were in the area, and Karen sat down. It was on like a little bit of a slope, and she sat down, and she has a good camera, and she was positioned looking behind her and up on this female gorilla that was up in the tree with her baby, and I was walking towards them. It was just like, I am just now realizing, oh, we're there. We're close to the gorillas, okay? So I was walking closer to her just so that I could see what she was seeing. And I was maybe 10 feet away, no more than 15 feet away, when this female gorilla climbed out of the tree and walked that close behind her. Okay, like I like was watching this play out right in front of me. And it just happens so fast, and it's like so incredible. You can't even believe what you're seeing. Karen she stayed calm. She just turned around. And this gorilla, this is not a trick of angles or anything like that. That is how close that female gorilla was to her. And it was actually another, there was a gentleman that had joined our group. We had a very small group with us on this particular trek. And so there was another gentleman traveling alone that joined our group. And he took a video of this whole thing. After this female gorilla past Karen, she went a few feet, turned around, sat down, and here came baby. Same thing, followed right behind Karen, caught up with mama, jumped on her back, and walked away. It was like, what did we just see? It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. See that all play out. Ahead of going on the trek, just as with the chimpanzee trek, we get a briefing from the guides, what to expect, what to do if one of the gorillas should charge. Okay, we on this same trip we did have a younger like a subadult silverback charge us. He made a lot of noise, and we could see a lot of the vegetation moving. He never broke through that vegetation and got that close to us. And what we learned is the night before, there were two different troops that had, kind of tangled with each other and argued with each other or whatever, and then went on their way. And this troop that we were seeing was separated. And by morning, the whole troop was still not all together. And so this younger male, he was mad. He wasn't mad at us. He was mad. His whole family wasn't together. And twice he just like let out, some good screams and some good yells, and was running through all of this thick brush. But he never came through and ran at us. He was just mad and anxious. But the guides are there. They are also communicating with the gorillas, depending on how close they may get, and they kind of just communicate with them with a lot of different kind of grunts and a few words and things like that. And it's amazing to watch all of that play out as well. And at the end, you get a certificate of having done gorilla trekking. All right, that brings us up to, we're heading now on our way back to Entebbe, and we stop at Lake Mburo National Park. And this is a lovely little gem of a park. It's like the smallest, one of the smallest savanna parks. And it has its own group of animals. This is our first time that we'll get the chance to see a zebra. It's down in this little area. And they also have a lot of dwarf mongoose, a lot of impalas. They have the bigger, heaviest antelope, the eland. Good chance for us to see those. And when we go to this park, we take a tour out on Lake Mburo out on a boat. Here's the eland and the zebras. We're trying to, like, I love to know like the collective names of all the different African animals, but we're starting to try to get a new trend started, that a group of zebras has always been known as a dazzle of zebras, but I think it's a little more accurate to call them as a barcode of zebras, barcode of zebras. Like, let's get it going, let's start that tradition. And this is a mongoose. They're fun to watch. You rarely see one at a time. They're usually in a group, and they scurry along really fast, jump up straight and keep on going. And then they are like little periscopes, what's going on. So it's fun to come across a group of those guys. And here's some impalas. Oh, and this is the gray-crowned crane. It's the national bird of Uganda, and they are gorgeous to see, just beautiful. And here is one of the boats that we may go out on. They have a couple different boats available, and we take a nice long tour all around the perimeter of this lake. And again, a lot of animals, a lot of hippos. Have some close encounters with hippos out here, and both we'll be seeing both animals and a lot of bird life again. Again, a lot of crocodiles along this area. Beautiful lake, not for swimming. Not today, folks. And then we make our way back to Entebbe. All right, so does a game drive look like? So typical day, once we get inside the park, the roof pops open, and that gives a really good view. If most people can just stand and see right outside of the top of the safari vehicle. I'm a little on the short side. I'm 5'3", so I always kick off my hiking boots whenever I get into the safari vehicle, and that allows me to stand on the seat and still get that good view. So if you're like me on the shorter side, rest assured you'll still get a good view. And inside, there's the opportunity to sit up front with the driver. And then behind the driver, there are 6 seats. Everybody has a window. There's an aisle in the middle. There's a pocket in the seat in front of you. We carry our day pack with us up front. That would have your water bottle, layers of clothing, like carry a rain jacket with you all the time, carry bug spray with you if you need it. I talked, like a lot of people ask me how bad are bugs. The first trip that I went on to Tanzania, every morning I woke up and put on, a bunch of bug spray. That was like not needed. That was too much. I quickly learned carry it with me, and if it's needed, then I could apply it as needed. Okay, I have found the bugs are really not much of an issue at all, but we want to be prepared. And we also encourage switch up where you're seating. Don't sit in the same seat every day. Try them all out. Get a little bit of a different view. If we see something interesting, we stop and then we'll just observe it for whatever length of time we need to watch everything play out. This gives you another good example of just how close we may be to those larger animals. Okay, our lodging and accommodations. Again, we're staying in lodges. The lodges are all individual buildings that are for 1 or 2 people, depending on if you have single supplement or if you're with a roommate. It's different than like we're used to travel here is like you're in a hotel. Like, nope, we're not staying in anything like that's a hotel. It's more individual lodges. And they're adorable. They're cute. Yeah, and here we are. Here's a typical dining room. This was this year's group having a nice little happy hour. And here's another example of what the bathroom facilities look like. Once again, everybody worries about, do we have flushing toilets where we stay? Absolutely. Now, Uganda a little bit rougher than Tanzania. On our way like to and from a lodge from one day to the next, we may have a long day of driving. The different areas that we stop along the way, even at a gas station, for instance, we may stop at a gas station and use their restrooms. It is not unusual then to find a pit toilet. Okay, so we all get used to squatting over. It could be a ceramic pit toilet. It's not just like an open outhouse kind of pit, but a ceramic pit. Or some of the women like to carry like Go Girl, or She Pee, use one of those apparatus to stand over there, take care of bathroom business that way. Or you get used to squatting. But again, the accommodations that we stay at night, always a flushing toilet. And this, like what to pack for a trip like this. We have on all of our trips a very comprehensive packing list. We'll tell you everything you need to pack. When it gets down to the trips for Uganda and Tanzania, we get down to like what colors to pack and what colors to avoid. You'll see here, this is Chris. She was on our trip this year, and she has like a fanny pack that she found and really, really liked. I also wear a fanny pack for these trips. It just keeps everything right there. It keeps it's an easy place for me to store my phone. And I really like walking or using a fanny pack on these two particular trips as well. Not a necessity, it's what you may be comfortable with. This just gives you an example of why we ask you to use duffels, and there are no roller bags on this type of trip. We ask everybody to bring a duffel. They have to be packed in the back of the safari vehicle anytime we're moving from one lodge to another, which is often throughout this whole circuit, right? And they're like fit in the back here like a little jigsaw puzzle. So we give you all the requirements of what size duffel and what the weight requirements are. All of that is in our packing list. Here's an example of different type of clothing. Safari pants, safari shirts, and definitely rain pants and rain jacket. This is all, you want to have it in case you need it. And we want to always have forest-friendly colors, all right? And we're going to ask for no black and no blue. Black and blue attract tsetse flies, okay? And along the way in Uganda, you'll see that they have these like canvas tents that are alongside the roads and in some of the parks, and they're blue and black, and they're meant to attract tsetse flies. So we don't want to wear any of that in the vehicles. That attracts it inside the vehicles. This insect repellent that you see in the bottom right-hand corner there, that's permethrin. You can get it from Amazon. And we suggest everybody spray their clothes down before you go on the trip. And everything, again, is all about prevention. Helps us reduce as much incidents with bugs and insects. Again, it's not a horrible thing, much, much less than anything I ever imagined. Wear a good hiking boot or good hiking shoe and good socks. I actually wear, even though we're right along the equator, I wear merino wool socks the entire time. They're good for, both cold weather and for warm weather, and they're comfortable. This is another example of the different type of equipment you want to have. You absolutely want to have your own pair of binoculars. The game that we see, it could be any distance from the vehicle. Of course, we're going to see many things up close, but we're also, you're going to want your binoculars to find that leopard that may be in a tree, or to see the beautiful birds. In the upper right-hand corner is a good camera. That's not a necessity. If you have one, fantastic. If you can borrow one, fantastic. I bring along a camera very similar to this, but you will get plenty of fabulous pictures with your smartphone alone. The cameras in smartphones these days are absolutely amazing. In the lower left is just an example of, that's like a harness that you can wear that kind of like holds your binoculars, and then you can just like easily bring it up, and it just makes it a little bit easier to carry that around you all day rather than having it hanging from your neck. It's all a matter of preference. I personally don't use one of those, but a lot of people do. How to get to Uganda. All right. Many of the, that'll get to the airlines here in a minute. Sorry, I kind of jumped the gun there. What do you need? You need a valid passport with at least 2 blank pages, and your passport needs to be valid for at least 6 months. Okay, so if yours is close to expiring, watch that date. It has to be, 6 months beyond the dates of the trip. For Uganda, you do need proof of yellow fever vaccine. The yellow fever vaccine is a one and done. Once you have it, you never need to get it again. And when you get it, you get this yellow card, and they will ask for that as you land. The tourist visa for Uganda is $50, and all of the documentation that we give you includes instructions of how to apply for that visa. All the major airlines can fly into Entebbe, Delta, United, American, and all of their partners. I personally I try to fly Delta as often as I can. I'm just a Delta girl, but we've had plenty of people with have good experiences with these other airlines. Actually, last year Delta didn't have the flight I needed to get there, so I flew one way on Ethiopian Airlines and I flew home on Delta. Think it's going to take like 24 hours total of travel. The flights are probably about 16 hours. With Delta, you go from the States to Amsterdam and then Amsterdam down to Entebbe. That's about 16 hours worth of flights, but altogether with as much time as you have to have, pre-time at an airport or layovers, it's about 24 hours altogether. Cost, we've been looking at cost and it's running between 900 and 1,300 round trip. All the major cities, I fly out of Chicago, but you should be able to find something from all the major cities and all the travel parameters that is in our instructions. It tells you exactly, find a flight that gets you by this date after this time. And for the date of departure, this is your date for flights after this time. We give you very detailed instructions on all of that. Many people like to fly in a day early just to make sure if there were any problems with flight delays, or also just to get acclimated to that time change and the jet lag. So not unusual for people to come in a day early. If you need that, let us know, and we can add another night stay onto your lodging. Okay, how to sign up? Go to our website. Website is here. This QR code gets you right to the page for this tour. Gives you all the explanation there. There's a brochure to download if you haven't already done that. This trip maxes out at 12. Okay, that's 2 safari vehicles. So don't wait too long and sign up. We hope that you join us. If you have any questions, please reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions. My email address is right there. It's pretty simple, Lori@greenadventures.com. And Tara, the owner, also always available and we're happy to answer any of your questions. I know I've already gone over the hour limit. Sorry, that's me. I should have warned you up front. My name's Lori. I'm a storyteller. But if you have any questions, we'd love to hear them. I can't see if anybody added anything to chat, but Shauna, I'll let you take that from here.
Yeah,
Do you have any
nothing in the
questions?
chat. Lisa had a question here. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Lori. Very thorough. I appreciate that. A couple quick questions. In Uganda, when you're out in the savannah on safari, can the vehicle go anywhere if the guide sees an animal, or do you have to stay on the path? Like Tanzania, you stay on the
yeah.
path, and Kenya, you don't. You
Yeah.
can go anywhere.
Most of the time we are on the road. Okay, most of the time. But I do know there are times that we have gone off the road because I know we absolutely have when we've been by the tree climbing lions.
Okay.
We've like driven around that tree. Okay. So
perfect.
there are times that we have kind of
get
gone
really
off the
close.
track.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
That makes a big difference. And so for the vehicles, we're in the safari vehicle, but when we're traveling between cities, because obviously sometimes there's, quite a few hours, are we still in those same vehicles?
Yes,
That's like
same vehicles. Same vehicles the whole time. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then
Good question.
last question is, obviously I was monitoring weather, and the springtime there's not rain, but also like early fall, like September, August, September, there's no rain either, right? There were little chance of rain.
Right.
Because that makes a big difference.
Right. We are at the end of the rainy season for both the Uganda trip and the Tanzania trip. And we picked this time on purpose. Okay. This will be my 5th time going back to Uganda. It'll be my 10th time doing the Tanzania trip. We picked this, I mean, it's always been this same time frame. Okay. And we pick it on purpose. Might we run into rain? We may have rain, but nobody can totally predict the weather, right? So we have had rain sometimes at night. It has never stopped like the gorilla trek, the chimpanzee trek, none of that. Yeah. But that's also why all of our trips, not these trips, all of our trips, number one thing is rain gear.
Yeah. Right.
That we're prepared.
I'm hoping that you'll add dates for September because that's when I can go, but I'll wait to
Ah,
see.
Yeah.
That's where I am too. I can't do the spring.
I
Oh,
can't do
that's
spring.
unfortunate. That's
I
unfortunate.
know,
Yeah,
but
so
I'm
I'm
dying.
hoping
Please
you do
add.
the
It
fall
says
again.
TBD.
I know.
Right? It
Yeah.
says-
So.
What's that, Lisa?
It says September says TBD.
Oh, to be determined. Oh, and
Yes.
yeah, I can actually, the only thing I can comment on that is we had, there was a private trip this year, in August, like Uganda and Tanzania. We had a private trip then.
Mm.
Okay. So, whether Tara's opening up another women's trip in fall, I don't have the details on that yet. But if you saw
Okay.
it to be determined, yeah, maybe there'll be one in fall.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope so. I'm there if it is.
Yeah, the itinerary is the same. That much I know.
Okay.
Oh, well, actually, I know that's the same for Uganda. I think in Tanzania, they went a little further north because the Tanzania trip tries to catch the Great Migration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, good questions. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, once again, I'm sorry I went over. I really try to keep it to an hour. If you think of anything else, you need anything answered from us, please use our email addresses. We're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Wonderful. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks for your
Thank you
time.
so much.
Thanks so
Thanks.
much. See you.
Bye.
Bye.